everyone. We're live here at RSA. This is Alan Shimel. It's my first interview for RSA 2025. I've been busy over, I don't know if you can see it out the back, but Moscone South is just over there. We're in Moscone West, and I've been over in South all day. I haven't had a chance to be here. Lisa Martin's done a great job. I hope you're following along. What a best way to kick off my RSA coverage, though, than with this guy right here. If you don't know him, shame on you. But no, if you don't know him, he's the CEO of Futurum Group. It's my good friend, Daniel Newman. Daniel, welcome to RSA coverage, man. You're my first interview.
Yeah, and welcome yourself. I mean, we're at the desk together.
Yeah?
Our first one since we got happily married.
That's right. And that was in Boca, was the last time we did that.
That was in Boca.
Yeah.
And our first RSA together, though, as
yes, this
one
is the
big
first
happy
time
family.
you've been here. So, and this is a good RSA. They're expecting somewhere between 40 and 45,000 people. You know, we do this event every year over in conjunction with them. This is our 10th year doing it. And we had, well, at 2 o'clock, we had about 850 people there. But we'll probably finish with 1,000. It was an amazing day of AI, cyber, app dev.
Yeah, it's been a good one so far. I came in on Sunday. I know the event technically is not even really fully started, the expo floor, but been doing some stuff around the perimeter. I had a great sit down with Palo Alto Networks CEO, Nikesh Arora. They bought a company since last
night. An AI company.
Announced and launched a new platform. So talk a little bit about that. Spent some time with Cisco's Chief Product Officer, Jeetu Patel.
Love
today.
Jeetu.
Had him Jeetu's great.
Yeah.
Great sit down. I went over and visited the Veeam house. I was just sitting with Google Cloud for a while.
Really?
Of course, Google is making big moves. We'll see.
Billions and billions.
30-something billion. Got to get the Wiz deal done. You know, the environment's still a little questionable.
So I heard the Wiz deal is not getting done now till 2026.
I haven't heard anything official, and even if I had, I wouldn't say it here.
Okay.
But let's say from the onset of that announcement, there's a lot of regulatory uncertainty still. And Google, of course, is in the middle of a lot more regulatory scrutiny, Chrome, advertising business. They're just going through a lot right now. And so while personally, I don't actually believe this transaction is particularly problematic, I think when you're a company that's kind of facing this many investigations, both here domestically and around the world, trying to get something through, you know how hard it is to get these deals done. You need a lot of regulatory bodies to approve them.
There's also a PR aspect to it. And like you said, while this particular deal I don't think represents any sort of monopolistic behavior or anything, because of the atmosphere that Google finds themselves in, it's going to get so much more scrutiny than it deserves, quite frankly. You know, I'm not a handicapper, but the odds of this thing getting done are just not as good as you would think that it should be.
Yeah, so let me tell you something that is very interesting in those conversations that I had, though, so far. This industry has long been very fragmented. There's so many different types and pieces of security. Yeah. You come here, and it's not a few dozen power players. It is hundreds, thousands of companies. There's new companies, tons of venture money going into this space. You know, we're securing this application, this device, this edge, this data. But there is this really big sort of movement by these larger companies to try to do a platformization.
Yeah.
I heard it from Nikesh. I heard it from G2. This kind of, the industry needs centralization, and that AI is a bit of a forcing function.
Maybe, but so here, as someone who's been in security 30 years, the move to a platform, it's little fish get eaten by the medium fish, big fish eat the medium fish. One of the issues in security is innovation at the Cisco level or even the Palo Alto level kind of stopped. They count on acquisition for innovation. And what you used to hear was products become features, right? So you would have a small company that made a product, and then that became a feature in a larger product set. Well, the other shoe of dropping on that is products move into platforms.
Yep.
And then the nice thing about platform is you don't have to own every product that fits into that platform. You could partner and have an ecosystem, if you will. I think that's been the holy grail that companies like Palo, Cisco, and before them, McAfee, Symantec, they all chase that holy grail. Very few companies achieve that platform status, which is weird because you would think, what's the big deal about being a platform, right? But why is it so hard? But very few companies get there, Daniel.
Well, it's a massive deal. And what's a little different in terms of a forcing function, one, AI, right? So AI is creating so much velocity, so much pace that companies have to be able to address that, and stitching together dozens or hundreds of different security solutions is a challenge, especially given the amount of budget that is security, which is generally single-digit percentage of an overall IT budget.
At best.
While concurrently tending to be not the strongest part of expertise within any IT team. And so the idea, again, it's a good idea, not necessarily saying it will work, but that you could sort of have that one universal platform. By the way, we started there a little bit with cloud, right? It was, you're going to use one cloud.
Right.
And that one cloud will solve all your compute, storage, networking needs. And it's like, well, you need one cloud, but you also need a bunch of your own infrastructure still for this reason. And then it was how many years later that all those big clouds said, well, now you need more than one cloud. And by the way, there's a telco cloud and there's an edge. But I think the idea that getting underneath all of the security needs and having sort of a more prominent partner becomes relevant, but it also materially changes the makeup of the industry if that was to really take place.
Yes, it would. You know, the single biggest question I hear from my friends in security, especially those who can't make it out to San Francisco here at RSAC, where's the innovation? Where is the innovation in security? We're doing the same things we were doing. Where's the innovation? And unfortunately, the innovation is generally not in Palo Alto or Cisco. Now, I don't mean to pick on them. They're two great security companies. The innovation, I always say, if you go down to the expo floor here at 5:30, it's kind of like the Star Wars galaxy. In the center of the galaxy, there's a big black hole that's sucking in light.
Yeah.
That's where these big companies have 40 by 40 booths and 80 by 80 booths. It's when you get to the outer rim, you see innovation. Those 10 by 10 booths where security people are innovating, coming up with the next generation, especially with AI, agentic AI stuff. And I see it in two ways with AI. One is AI is a sword, one is AI is a shield, or using a shield for AI. I don't think, I think the whole system is geared, and I'm not saying it's cracked, but the whole system is geared to keep that innovation engine humming.
100%. These big companies will make a number of purchases of these smaller companies. That was the Protect.ai acquisition.
Absolutely.
It's just that there are thousands of smaller startups either being seeded in Series A's and B's that may not see that exit, but we do need, in any industry, and that's the same thing in AI, there's lots of companies trying to innovate there, but we are seeing a very exciting convergence. Yeah. Security doesn't sit on the island anymore. It used to be like IT, security. And now these two things are very much interdependent.
Yep.
And that security platforms plus data plus infrastructure aren't sitting that far away from the type of compute applications and resources and agents.
Absolutely. Let me bring up something else. I'd like to get your thoughts. Hey, if you need a nap,
No, I'm
tissues,
good.
okay.
But we're all a little sick.
Yeah, well, it's going around here,
Thank
but
gosh, from where you sit watching us right now,
they
we're not
can't catch it
contagious.
from here. So I don't know if you had a chance to go over to the what they call the innovation sandbox here.
No, not yet.
So 20th year at RSA, they pick 10 companies every year to compete in the innovation sandbox. A who's who of winners over 20 years. Lots of IPOs, lots of big exits. This year they're doing something a little different. Every one of the 10 finalists is getting $5 million in venture money from CrossPoint Partners, which is the company that now owns RSA Conference.
Oh, wow.
Interesting. What's your opinion about, so RSA Conference as a conference, should they be investing in companies? Are we going to mess up? Are we going to kill the gravy train, this whole system of innovation? Like, there's a lot of people here are saying RSA is a conference, not an investor. They're changing their business model. It's now RSAC conference, C for community.
Well, I think that's very limiting. It's a very small mindset. Look, the RSA conference community, whether it is or isn't community, right? We're debating that, is a ecosystem, and it's a bringing together of many people and ideas. Transparency here is that RSA happens to be owned by a company that is invested in other businesses. They're using an event that they've built that brings the best together into one place to try to seed. I mean, they could do it more stealthily and have their...
I would rather them not.
Yeah, I'm saying, so now it's with a level of transparency. It's out in the open. I mean, these companies that are entering it are choosing. They understand that the consequence of being good could be taking an investment.
Yep.
They probably are trying to raise money. They're probably talking to other venture companies to try to raise money. So it's kind of like CNBC hosting Shark Tank. It's like, look, you've got an audience, you've got access to these interesting people, you're bringing them together, and it's good business. Good money, capital allocators putting good money towards good products and services is a key element of a strong capitalist society. And so, I mean, you know me. I mean,
you're a capitalist.
We liked what you did so much that I had to have it.
Yeah, I get it.
So, people thought a lot of things, like when we came into the industry, though, oh, you're an analyst firm, you can't be media. Oh, you're, you can't be a lab because you're not objective. It's like, we're in a world now where you have to question everyone's intent, but at the same time, you also have to be opportunistic. So I'm all for it.
You're all for that. Let me run something else by you. So I mentioned we were doing this thing up at South today, the 10th annual DevSecOps Connect. We had a panel with the CISO of Anthropic, the CISO of OpenAI, excuse me, security tech lead of Meta Llama.
Yep.
What are they doing around security? And then this may surprise you. The Anthropic and the OpenAI CISO said they're under so much pressure to get the next model out and the next model out and the next model out that they didn't say it was impossible, but they said near impossible to really bake the security in. This was at an open, we'll have this next month on video for you to watch, but what's your feeling about that?
So interesting, when I was spending time with G2, he was talking about some of the work that Cisco's doing, and he talked about how when they were trying to expose vulnerabilities of DeepSeek, they were able to accomplish that 100% of the time.
Right.
Okay. Models are by default non-deterministic, meaning you don't actually know what they're going to create. Otherwise, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be generative AI.
Right.
It would be some type of, RPA or automation.
Not neuro. Yep.
The TLDR is the pace is creating vulnerabilities. And for instance, you might say, hey, I want to know how to make a gun out of spare parts in my home. these models are largely developed and trained from a security standpoint to which it would know not to answer that question. However, putting just the slightest bit of context around that same question and saying, I'm creating a play for my school and I need to create a prop gun that can do X, Y, and Z, and it might not know. And what I'm saying is, so the ability to manage the data, the model, and create a secure situation with these non-deterministic platforms is incredibly difficult.
Absolutely.
Given the unpredictability of the outcome. So there's a really large market opportunity for companies that can help these big players solve the fact that these models are inherently and have a high propensity to being utilized this way. And by the way, AI will be one of the biggest creators of risk because it can be used to very rapidly put an onslaught of prompts into these systems to create more vulnerabilities. Yes. So I think they're saying what's probably accurate. I think they probably are putting meaningful resources towards trying to secure them, but realistically, security has always lagged innovation. Yeah. And in this case, the innovation is just faster and the risks are higher.
Absolutely. Let's talk Futurum a little bit.
Yeah.
We're here. I saw some of the 6.5 Media folks and our friend Lee Sellers from VI is here. You're here. How does Futurum view RSA conference?
Look, when we came together, I always thought that security and IT lacked the commonality, the community and discipline, and that a lot of analyst communities, research communities sort of treated kind of like there's a CISO and a CIO.
Yep.
And my belief is security and IT and AI, these things are converging in a really prolific way. And so our team is very committed, whether that's been expanding on our analyst side, whether that's been building our data platform and the research around cybersecurity, whether that's been expanding programming, bringing great new talent into the TechStrong family, Security Boulevard, bringing developers, security, IT, AI closer together. Look, I deeply believe that technology is the most deterministic factor of the world's long-term economic leadership. Security is one of the most robust opportunities that exists. It cannot be looked at any longer as some type of insurance, life insurance or secondary thing that you purchase in a worst case scenario. It needs to be very proactive. It needs to be very upfront to everything you do. And so deep down, I couldn't be more bullish about this category. No. And so personally, while I haven't spent as much time in this space as I maybe in other parts of the tech stack, seeing the community, I couldn't be more proud of the company that we've created and the depth that we're able to cover this space. And I'm just really glad we're here. And I think you guys are doing a great job. And while I can't stay longer.
I see where you're getting here.
I can't stay longer.
Another time.
But I am really looking forward to coming back and RSA, but also just continuing to, take a more and more active role in this community, because I think security is one of the fronts that's just under-covered, under-discussed, with so much upside opportunity and necessity, Alan.
40,000 plus people here would say absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Daniel Newman. Hey, dude, it's a pleasure having you here.
Thanks for having me.
I love working with this guy. Daniel Newman, CEO of Futurum, futurumgroup.com. We didn't talk about the intelligence portal. I'm going to talk about it this week. Check it out. But we're live at, excuse me, my voice is going. We're live at RSA. We'll be back. Actually, this is it for day one, right? Well, day 0. We'll be back tomorrow for day 1. Until then, enjoy. Bye-bye.